But I think it really is a good opportunity for all of us to take advantage of this. I don't know why, but over the last few months, the whole nature of the teaching is changing. And it's going deeper, it's getting richer. There's actually more joy in it, more love in it, compassion for people. And it's something that I've wanted all my life. And, really, it takes a long time to get to that place where the heart can truly stay open. So I think everybody has to take advantage of this. I mean, people are emailing me that they're feeling this kind of intense energy all over the place. And I am very grateful for that. So please, everyone, try and work in depth, try to open and realize, as I've said many times, every one of these classes is a step closer towards a state of spiritual enlightenment. And one has to use them that way, because basically I can't imagine why anyone would be here unless they would want that kind of thing. So please open, go deep, ask deeply, feel a deep need inside, and we'll have a meditation class.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's just about loss and death. I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit about.
I said small subjects.
Yeah. Yeah, about when someone that you love and want very much not to have died does die, how to be able to let them go, rather than clinging on and the suffering that's involved in that.
Well, Alicia, that's part of this training that I give, because in order to do what you're asking, you have to have the system inside that's strong enough to do it. Just emotions can't do that. Thinking can't do that. You have to build a chakra system that has enough strength to recognize a few things. First, anyone that you truly unconditionally love lives in your heart. They really never pass. Yeah, their body passes, that thing happens, but the true essence of them is inside you. They live in your heart. The second thing is that one day we all pass. One day, as I always kid around, there's nobody alive here from the 17th century. So we need to get to a place of such connection with God and inner strength that we can let go of somebody. We can let them take a rest. I mean, basically what they're getting is a vacation from the earth and preparation to come back here in another body and to continue the evolution of the soul. So it's all dependent upon how deeply a person's spiritual need is. How deeply we work inside ourselves to develop an inner life that is strong enough to connect us with God. That connection gives us the strength to respect birth, to respect death. These are both organic occurrences. And truly, when one connects with infinite energy, with God, whatever you want to call that, there is no more birth or death. There's a oneness with everything in the universe, with, birth and death dissolve into that oneness that we experience with everyone in the universe. So the biggest part of having a spiritual life is developing that kind of inner system that enables you to merge both life and death. For some reason or other, every single one of us have to leave the world. But what leaves the world? Our soul leaves the body, okay, it's burnt, it's cremated, it's buried, it's whatever we do. and the soul continues to evolve. And, on higher planes, they prepare the soul to be born again and to take on another body, and depending upon your karma in this lifetime, and continue the evolution. And I've had enough death experiences with people who have been in my life, who've been very dear to me. The most difficult one was my father. I was 16 years old, and it really shook me to the core of my being. It also was probably one of the most transformative things that ever happened to me. Years later, I discovered that my father was my first guru, my first teacher. His death completely transformed my life and turned it in from an ordinary life to somebody who truly wanted a spiritual life. Because I couldn't comprehend what happened. It was so amazing, and it was really God teaching me through my father in the last moments of his life. I won't go into this. I've told the story enough. Someday I'll tell you the story. It is kind of amazing. And, and throughout my life, I've had to deal with people who have come and people who have died. And the greatest thing, I'll never forget, I had one student who had AIDS. And he had this thing called Kaposi sarcoma, where he had scales over his whole body. And the suffering was so intense. And I remember sitting with him. He was in the hospital, and I said to him, "What are you holding on to?" I said, all you're holding on to is suffering. If you let go, and I said to him, you'll come back here as a beautiful baby with everything to live for. You will bring with you into that new incarnation everything you've learned in this lifetime. And it's your next step in your spiritual growth. Well, he was lying in bed, and he's just shaking his head. He said, "Yes, yes, thank you, thank you." Next day, he left. Now, if we can see all people that way, that birth is an opportunity to get closer to God, and death is an opportunity to get closer to God. And when one person, a human being, manages to become one with God and has a spiritual life, they attain a state of samadhi, which is the oneness with God, and they don't come back here. They really have done their karma on the earth. And I know these are very difficult subjects, and they're subjects that every person on this planet has to ultimately master. And if you truly love somebody, they live in your heart. They'll always be with you. So my teacher told me, he said, "Don't love me, just learn what I have to, teach you." He said, "When I leave," he said, "don't, cry and lament and this, and just take whatever I taught you and use it in your life. Grow closer to God because of the things you learned from me. That's the best service you can do for me." I could never stop loving him. And to this day, I love him, But I learned that's the best service I can do for him and for God. And that's why all these years I've been teaching what I teach, hoping to pass it on to other people. Look, I don't know if you know this, but I was in an airplane crash with my spiritual teacher. And we hit a mountain, and he died in that crash. He took his samadhi. And I'll never forget when I realized and I said, "Stuart," to myself, first I just got on my knees, and I thanked him for allowing me to be with him the last moment of his life. And then I said to myself, Stuart, now you'll find out what the last 6 years have been about, what you have learned, and can you continue to use everything you've learned to grow spiritually. And the strangest thing of all, I didn't feel lost because he was living inside me. He's been living inside me to this day. Please, everyone, try and sit still. Don't move. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Anything else is just bullshit, you know? Shakespeare said it's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Birth and death, merging the two and using every moment of our lives to get closer to God, to have a spiritual life. And to recognize that the temple isn't the church or the synagogue or the mosque. The temple is life. Life is the greatest teacher. Much better teacher than me. Much better teacher than any teacher I've ever met, be it priest, rabbi, imam, swami, life itself. But our job is to get strong enough to where we can sit in front of life, learn from it, and allow that incredible inner strength to merge both life and death so that we are one with higher energy in the universe. There's no more dichotomy, there's no more polarity. It's just a oneness. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, well, you ladies, happy Mother's Day if you have children. God bless you all for being here, and thank you. And it's amazing, this. And I just am so, I don't know what to say anymore. It's just fantastic that we can all gather here and do this, take an hour on a Sunday and do something like this that can help each and every one of us grow and take a step closer to our spiritual enlightenment. So bless you all and thank you. And I will see everybody. There'll be a class on Tuesday and I will see you all then. Thank you.
Bless you too. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. God bless you.